Hmm. Good evening. I know some of you will be coming soon, and so I want to start, and some of you will be watched later. So to all of you, I say good evening. And I am so pleased that we are already in chapter 9 of the Gospel of John. And I've been thinking a lot about uh, John in that day, reading and talking with people, sorry, that have a, the same feeling than me about the Gospel of John. Uh, how the timing, isn't it? The timing of John writing that Gospel when Jesus was already maybe 40 years already dead and rise again. And he writing that book to talk to the people about what was happening with Jesus. So here we are in chapter 9 today, chapter 9, 10, 11, and 12. And we want to pass. I really want that you read the book for yourself because it's amazing. The Gospel of John is giving us a way to see Jesus here as our God. No Jesus only about uh, the Son of God, but it's God in Himself. And it's amazing how much we learn when we read the Gospel, and we try to understand what John tried to say to the people. Don't run. Don't run from your face because the Jesus that you believe is real, it's true, it's God. When many people was maybe saying, "Mm-mm, it's not God." So we're going to start with chapter 11, with chapter 9, sorry, and to read. And that is the the healing of the of Jesus, or that guy that was blind. But Jesus did in very different ways. And we're going to reading and thinking about what Jesus is trying to do here, what he's trying to show us, and why John, he could choose many, he chose that one. He could choose other blind, Jesus healing so many blind people, but he chose that one. And he chose intentionally because he wants to teach us something here. Hmm. So, John chapter 9 say, as he walked alone, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciple asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's word may be revealed in him. We must work the word of him who sent me, where it is day, night is coming, when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he has said this, he spat on ground and made mud with saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. Then he went and washed and came back able to see. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, it is no the man who used to sit and beg? Some were saying, it is him. Others were saying, no, but it's someone like him. He keeps saying, I am the man. But they keep asking him, then how were your eyes open? He answered, the man called Jesus made mud spread on my eyes and said to me, go to the Siloam and wash. Then I went and I washed and received my sight. They say to him, where is he? He said, I don't know. It's so many pictures here that are so impressed. And the first thing that I want to mention is the question of the disciple asking Jesus, because it was very cultural for the Jewish people, but it's sad that it's still for us in that timing. Some people thinking if something wrong happened to you, it's because you are a sinner. You and your family had something to hide it. So if something happened, why do you happen? Why did you lose that? Why you are like that? Why you don't have money? Why you don't have a house? Why you don't have a car? It's something wrong with you. And more, it sees something in your own body. And that was they then believe that. That's because then asking Jesus a serious question. Is no, he then wasn't here talking because they don't have nothing to say. No, it's because they believe that. They believe that if you born with any illness, it's something wrong with you and your family. And I can't mention name, but I know the situation of a pastor that I knew that his mission let him go when his son was born because his son was sick. And for them, the domination, then thinking that if you are serving God, your life has to be perfect. Last year, as some of you know, then I have a cancer. And what difficult for me because people asking you, it's like, is there something wrong with you? He says, why something wrong? And even when we pray, say, Lord, show me if there's anything wrong, what I have done wrong, because we think we don't deserve that is happening. So it's very sad. But that was the first thing that they asking, and then asking because that was real in their culture. Their culture thinking like that. If it, anything happened to you, it's because you had done something wrong. And Jesus said, no him, no neither his family. It's only for the glorious God. But he said that he's talking here about something that I believe is is deeper. Of course, Jesus healed that guy, and we're going to see how he healed that guy in a very different way. But something here different. He asking, he said to the disciple, he said, we must work the work of him to send me. Where is they? Now that it's day, it's clear. The sun like today. I have the sun in my face. Yeah. When it's day like today, you can work because you can see what happened. They said, but will be a moment that it's night. The night is coming when no one can work. No one can do nothing. Nobody going to have nothing because it's dark. But he say, now that I am here in the world, because I am the light of the world. And that is a powerful word because I am the light of the world. And talking with friends last week, everybody's worrying about every place in the world. It's not a place in the world in that moment that is not affecting for the darkness that is in the world. It's war everywhere. If nobody trusts, it's darkness everywhere. And Jesus said, I am the light of the world. He's the solution. He offered himself. Yeah, he offered himself. He said, I am the light of the world. He said, will be a moment that if without me, you can do nothing because will be so dark. And I want to challenge you with yourself. You know how amazing it is that you have your faith. It's amazing. The fact that you have faith is amazing because your faith is in Jesus Christ and is the light of the world. So you can work, you can go through because it's a lot of dark there, it's a lot of darkness, but He is the light of the world. So we can work. He said, I am the light of the world. And he's saying, I am, he said, now that I am here, you have me. So you had that light, but will be moment that that light no will be there. So how much privilege we have, how amazing privilege we have to have Jesus, than we have Jesus, than is the light of the world. So he said that, and now he made that mood, with saliva. Very difficult thing. And he moved down and he put in the eyes of the guy. Of course, the guy didn't see. Maybe someone told him, "Ooh, he with the saliva, he going to put saliva in your eyes." So the guy could say, "No, no, don't do that." But he was blind. He wanted to be healed. He wanted to see. So he said, "Yeah, do it." Jesus went and he did, and Jesus put that in his eye. And plus, Jesus said, "Go and wash in the Siloam pool." Why all of that when we know we have been reading the first here, when he healed that blind guy, he 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 could do another way. Why Jesus did all of that? Why he take his time to say to make that mood with saliva and put in the eyes and sending him to the pool to wash? You know, sometimes miracles happen one by one. Sometimes is we need to see one thing and be obedient and be ready to say yes. I go. Why not? I don't. We don't know how that guy was, but he never see before. He don't know how the water is. He don't know how saliva is. He never seen nothing. And now he's going to have the opportunity to see for first time in life. And he allowed that happen in himself. And there are things that happen in our lives sometimes that we don't understand. But God allow happening so we can see his glory. We can see his light. So we open our eyes and see. Sometimes there are things that is not easy. But God allowed that happen. And he opened our eyes to see what he's doing. That guy went, you know, maybe people were with him to see, and he went to that place. He washed his face, and he see again. And Jesus wasn't there. Jesus was outside. Jesus wasn't with him. And it's a lot of things happening, and we don't understand. Yeah. But Jesus allowed all that happen so his glory could be there. And what Jesus was telling before is so much darkness. It's darkness everywhere. But I am the light. You need to see me. See me. I am the light of the world. And Jesus wants to show his light. So it's no easy situation. And we need to believe that we are in very difficult timing, but God is doing amazing thing every day for us. Now, what happened here at the same time, the Pharisee become more blind. That guy opened his eyes, but the Pharisee become more blind because they could see physically really what was happening, even when Jesus was there. But they refused to recognize the light standing before them. They had knowledge, the Pharisees had knowledge, but then didn't have the light. And it was in that darkness. Jesus is the light of the world. He gives sign of that everywhere and then couldn't see. But that guy, the blind guy, that never see before, he not have knowledge. He didn't know anything about Jesus. Even when he started to see, it wasn't Jesus the first thing that he see, maybe was his family or his friend, but never Jesus. Jesus wasn't there. Jesus opened his eyes to show his glory, to show that he's the light of the world. And to do anything in that life, we need him. So our faith needs to be based in that he's the light of the world. So that is chapter 9. And here we're going to all that happened, the persecution coming, and people want to know, and the Pharisee wasn't happy. But in chapter 10, and I'm going to read that, after the Pharisee doing the investigation, what was happening. And Jesus clear talk about that blindness. It's coming something beautiful here because was all that confusing thing. Everything was confusing. And Jesus say, that is my time now to talk about that. So this highlight, seeing that happen, that's blind guy that he born blind. He was a sinner, his family, and now he's here. He can see because Jesus has given him the sign again. So Jesus start to talk about that guy now, and Jesus want to talk about what happened there. What happened with the leadership? Then start to investigate it and want to know. But here, Jesus used what happened to say, you know what, guy? Not all the leadership is like that. I take care of you. So he say, starts here. He said, very truly, I tell you. So all the things happen, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Anyone who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, but climb in by another way, is thief and bandit. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opened the gate for him, and the sheep hear his voice. He called his own sheep by name and lead them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will not follow a stranger, but they will run from him because they don't know the voice of the stranger. Jesus used this figure to speak with them, but they did not understand what I was saying to them. So again, Jesus said to them, very truly, I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who come before me are sheep and bandits, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved and will come in and go out and find pasture. And he said, the sheep coming only to steal He said in the rest. But in verse 11, he said, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd laid down his life for the sheep. And what happened before? Something so good happened to that guy. But the people couldn't understand, especially the Pharisees. They were trying to find something wrong in Jesus. And they don't find the good thing. So Jesus said, it's no leadership here. You don't take care of the people, but I am taking care of the people. I am that gate that they can go through. But plus, I am the good leader here. I am the good shepherd. For Jesus to use that example of being a good shepherd makes sense because that was one of the major occupations through the Palestine in his day. So that was the job, the popular job. He's so the people, the listener, the people that was listening to understand because so many of them was part of that job or doing or the parent was or the neighbor they knew the job. People that care for flock or sheep were of the lowest society. So it's the people that was doing the job wasn't economically level, then wasn't. And no, that people couldn't understand what Jesus was telling. No very big education, but they have important responsibility. Yeah. Wherever here, Jesus provide to us to see that picture of protecting. He is the one that protecting us with sacrifice. So it's not only to stand up and say, I am the priest, but it's to protecting them. It's not I am the leader only because I am here to protecting you. And he says something that I've been thinking about that last week about I am the gate. You pass through. And I don't know how many of you have been passed through that year, but sometimes you want to have a door to go through, and everything around look like it's not happening. It's not happening, and you don't see a door to go. And he said, I am the door. Come through me. He said, the one that come through me, never going to be lost. And when I speak to you, you're going to listen to me. You're going to understand me. But he say more. He say, and plus, I am your leadership. I am you shepherd. I take care of you. I take in you. I lie my life for you. I think that is one of the more beautiful picture of Jesus to us. And I think when John chose that one to show how he healed that guy and was a complaint for the leadership. They didn't care about that guy. They care about who was that guy. He wanted to judge Jesus. But Jesus is not there for that. He said, I am a good shepherd. I take care for you. I am that door that you needed. And I want to take that for me today. He is the door that I can go through and feel safe. When everything is look very dark and dark, he is the door where I can go. So that I think is beautiful. And he say, most and surely I say to you, he say, I am telling you totally the truth. Because here he's talking about the real problem. It's darkness everywhere. It's dark. And I really tell you, I am the light. No, he say, I am the light. And now he say, I am the door. How beautiful is that? I am the light. So you can, in that darkness, you can work. And I am the door. So, you have a space where to go. You can go through. You can come to me. And I want let that with you as well today. Think about chapter 11, 10, and chapter 9 and 10. And one, he say, I am the light that you need in that darkness, and I am the door to go through all that trouble and problem. When you come through Jesus, when you pass through him, you're going to find that love. Now in chapter 11, I always find that very personal. I think uh, Lazarus and his sister are very close to Jesus. I'm going to read only the first part because it's a very known verse and you can read it after that. Now, certain man was ill, Lazarus, in Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who anointed the Lord with perfume and with his feet with her hair. Her brother Lazarus was ill. So the sister sent a message to Jesus, Lord, he who you love is ill. But when Jesus heard it, he said, this illness doesn't no lead to death. Rather, is for God's glory. So we already hear that, isn't it? When he say about the blind guy, he say, he know that he's a sinner. That's it for the glory of God. And now he said that about his friend. And we know what happened. And Jesus stayed longer, and Jesus didn't coming on time, and Lazarus died. And Lazarus and his sister Mary and Martha were close friends of Jesus. His love for them was deeply acknowledged. Here we have an interesting, a little part of something very close. Jesus was not close to his brother in that moment because, they maybe wasn't very close. And we read that already. The brother wouldn't trust Jesus. And so we don't know much about the private life of Jesus. We only see him publicly, but we never see him in some very private life. And I think here is a little bit of that because they was very close to Jesus, and the sister sending a note to him say, "The one that you love is sick." So it's amazing because it's here something more personal. They was very close. How many times Jesus sleep, eat, was there, share with them? What kind of conversation they have together? They was really friends. That was a part of Jesus' private life. So we also use Jesus in the company of his disciple. Then we forget that he probably has season of living with Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. Like many other people, Lazarus fell ill. He gets sick now, and his best friend wasn't there, and he died. And here, his sister knew that he loved him, and then was so sad. Then was crying, and I want to know that for then he was the man of the house. The Bible don't say that then was married. So that means if the brother died, then lost everything. They look like they were rich, then they have some accommodation. So when then you see the man of the family died, they don't have more other men in the family. They don't have any authority over the business that they have. So imagine that's two sisters now, and then call him, and Jesus arrived when he already there. And it's something here that I want to really see together because we have been reading that many times before. And Jesus talked first with Martha, isn't it? Then he say, if you arrive on time, he will be alive. And Jesus said to her, your brother will be rise again. And Martha said to him, I know. She was a woman of faith. She was a woman of knowledge. And she said, yeah, I know. I know that he will be rise again in the last day. I know exactly that. I know theology. I know that. But he's not here now. And that is the pain of the death. He's not here now when I need him, when I want to talk to him, when I want he care about us, when, he's not here anymore. He will be that last day. And Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Eh? He is the light. He is the gate. He is the door. And now he say, and I am the life. I am the life. I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will believe. And after that, he met Mary. And Mary was as well crying and sad and said the same thing to him. But we see something amazing here when he cried with her. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, where have you laid him? Then said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus began to weep. And Jesus cried. Jesus cried when saw him, when he saw the reality that was happening. But he said the same to her. You know, that's when he was moving because he was his friend. That wasn't a game. That wasn't something that was prepared to show out. Was death really? His friend was there, and he was doing something to do it. And if something happened here later, Jesus, we know, rise Lazarus from there. And it's a beautiful picture here because Jesus said, take the stone and bring him out. And he called, he said, Lazarus, come out. And he coming out. And something that I learned from that is that Jesus wasn't motivated by the same thing that motivating us, isn't it? Then one Lazarus be alive. Jesus want to give life to his friend. He want to show his disciple that he was the rise, the resurrection, and he was the life. But he was willing to let his friend be alive. And he called him, and Lazarus coming out. It is an amazing moment in life. It is a great, amazing moment when Jesus used his power to glorify his Father, but to back alive his friend. And I have been thinking about that friendship with Jesus and Lazarus, and how that was that moment when he coming out and he was alive in him. But Jesus didn't come right, a way. He could come in earlier. But one thing that I see here that Jesus have a plan. It was a painful plan for the life of Lazarus, but was a plan that was pure and clear, and he gave the life. Think about chapter 12, and but we're going to talk about chapter 12 next week. Chapter 12 is the life, is the point of changing in the gospel. It's a big changing here because it's a moment when Jesus started to working to his last, maybe a week before he died. So chapter 12 here is giving us so much light of what is happening. I want to end in here and telling you that He is the light. He is the gate, the door where you can go in the middle of darkness. And remember, He's the resurrection and life. He is. And so, in the middle of the darkness that we are today, remember that Jesus is everything to us. Everything that we need in the middle of the darkness that we are today is Jesus. So thank you for being here with me today. And I hope to see all of you next week and start to go to the end of that gospel. Hope to see you next week and God bless you.